And we see some cars making their stop, including Mike Conway and Will Power.
There's Justin Wilson. Now look at this angle. They're coming down pit road, and that's all under green running, if you will, for the pit stop. And they got a tight left-hander with that guardrail there.
So Castroneves stayed out. So did Andretti, Dixon. But these cars are all giving up a lot of spots.
Lindy.
Will Power pulls in right on his marks. Like several others, he started on the red alternates. He is taking the black tires now, filling up with fuel. In the first stint, they said, a great pace, we're going through. And does he get out before Mike Conway? Power kept it.
Oh, they're still tussling.
Oh, no, maybe not. There he goes.
Well, we need to get back to that line. We need to see where the pit outline was with regards to where Conway was and Power, and then that will determine that.
It will not be, of course, for the lead, but it will be for position.
And again, that is not a driver thing. That is going to be an electronic decision.
Yep.
Certainly, you can't fault Mike Conway for going for it, but
okay,
who got to the line first?
There it is. And I
be
hate
Will.
to tell you, Mike, darn it. But he raced him out hard.
Yeah, just in case.
Ooh, look at that. You see the pull out there?
Yeah, and a slight delay. And that is the advantage of being at pit out, being the championship point leader. He wasn't quite up to speed, but he got rolling and get across that line.
Sato's car being taken behind the wall for repairs. Hopefully he can get back out there.
So that's not a good thing. It wasn't just like a little electrical gremlin that they found something they fixed. There's something a little bit more there anytime you pull it back behind the wall.
Conway still ahead of Will. Hasn't apparently been told yet to go back.
Now here is something very interesting. Will Power now has not a clear view. There he's going to make the position right, but look ahead. There's a lot of race cars ahead of Will Power because they made a decision to pit. Castroneves, his teammate, along with Marco Andretti, here is Scott Dixon. They've got clear sailing.
And I
did not.
And I think the next thing we need to watch here, guys, and I started talking about is tire management. We've talked about sometimes how you can rarely build up these tires, and I think, Jack, you got more on that right now?
Well, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about how important it is to save the tires in a moment. First, I want to take you back to that pit stop between Will Power and the run off of pit road. When you take a look at the pit stop, you notice he's got the #1 stall. It's 40 feet in length, but it's very, very narrow. Now, here comes Conway. Conway is in the high-speed lane. He's at 50 miles an hour. So how did Will Power get by him? It was real simple. He didn't have to launch and get out into the high-speed lane. See, he stayed on the inside, and that gave him the advantage, although his speed at the line was slower than the 24 car.
Will Power drops back to 14th position. Conway is now 15th. The leader of the race will be Helio Castroneves with Marco Andretti second. At the top of your screen, you see the rundown. But Dixon, Franchitti, and now Simona Di Silvestro shows up in the top 5.
Well, so what I was starting to say prior to that is Helio has been out now on the red tires. You know, he's done about 12 hot laps on them. Is there going to be any fall off of those tires? And that, again, remember, that's part of the design that is here with Firestone. These red sidewalls are a softer compound. It's faster, but they don't have the durability. So with not having that durability, they kind of fall off a little bit sooner in terms of their life. Are we going to see that?
Well, Robbie, I talked to Tim Cindric about that before the start of the race, and they both felt, he and Helio, that it's worth the gamble at this point. Track position versus the fall off. They said until we get to the first third of the race completed, it's worth staying out in the reds if you can gain some spots. About to go back to green.
Indeed we are. They come down into turn number 15. Right away, and the Apex Brazil green flag comes out once again for our first restart of the day. Down into turn number 1 they go. Quite an elevation change there from the start-finish line down to turn 1, and then they come uphill just a bit. And look at Marco putting the pressure on Helio.
And we saw how aggressive Marco was at the beginning of St. Pete. He's going to set him up.
It's a great passing zone. Oh, he's going to do it. Marco takes the lead, or does he? He runs Helio off.
But Helio did give him a little bit coming in, but Marco didn't give him too much coming back out, did he?
And fellas, how did Marco Andretti make that pass? How about this? Is he coming up on Helio? He hit the overtake button. Helio Castroneves saw it in his mirror. Helio hit the overtake button. He waited for it to reset. Marco Andretti hit the overtake button for a second time, completed the pass.
And remember what that overtake gives us. It only gives you about 9 horsepower, give or take a little bit, and that really isn't that much, but it shows you how competitive and how tight it is, and you're fighting for every, not 10th, not every 100th, you're fighting for thousands.
Which is the reason
racetrack.
why it's been labeled overtake assist. In other words, Marco already had the move started.
Sure.
He used that to complete it. It's not going to get the job done for you, it's going to help you finish it.
And it worked.
It did.
Indeed. Down to Robbie Floyd.
Mike Hall makes the decisions for Scott Dixon. Your thoughts are to stay out. I guess the Reds aren't falling off like some people thought they may.
Well, they were better. Maybe it's just because it's just the first run on the tires, but the tires are holding up okay at the moment. And you know what? We weren't even into the window yet. So with a little bit of yellow, it could be, I don't want to lead anybody on. It could be a 2-stop race if everything fell right. But we'd rather be at the front running clean laps, and this is the best way to do it.
You saw it with aggressiveness. You can make passes out there. Is the thought to be aggressive or just kind of bide your time right now up front and don't make any mistakes?
Well, you don't win the race at the beginning. You win the race at the end. We'd rather be aggressive with toward the 90th lap than the 10th lap.
Well, the checker flag comes on that last lap, guys. Mike Hall still smiles right now, and both drivers for the Target Chip Ganassi crew up near the front.
And Robbie, when he says they weren't in the window with kind of a little bit of a smirk, you're not in a 2-stop window. You were definitely in a 3-stop window. And you heard him mention, well, you know, with some yellow, if you had quite a bit of yellow, it's possible it could be a 2-stop race, but that would be one heck of a stretch.
That could be just the mental aspect of the game we love. That's posturing. I'm just going to say that. But we all know it's a stretch. But Dixon is as good as anybody at saving fuel and being smart. I mean, you know, he does what he has to do when he needs to do it, whether it's making fuel or not. He knows how to do it.
We're back here in the pack where Will Power and Mike Conway came out after their pit stops. They're still running 13th and 14th.
Bob, here's the conundrum that Will Power finds himself in, and we better watch this very closely. His crew has told him, look, if you can pass, go ahead and pass. But if it's too difficult, then what we want you to do is just ride and start saving fuel. As he's starting to come with Conway, I think both of them were able to pass, so I think the fuel deal is out the window.
All right. Mario Romancini leading that little pack there with Ryan Briscoe right behind him.
So, Jack, this is Robbie. You're there to save fuel or to pass? What he said?
No,
what you want to
basically
do?
what he said is he wanted Will to test it out. If you can get by traffic, then go ahead. But remember what I talked about? You don't want to get bottled up.
Yeah.
If it's too hard to pass, then let's drop back. Let's just save fuel, and we'll wait to fight a little bit later in the race. They found that they were able, at least thus far, to get through some of that traffic, so they're not worried about the fuel.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you.
$18 laps completed, working lap number 19 of 90 at Barber Motorsports Park. Leeds, Alabama. Marco Andretti leads.
Y'all start these engines.
Nothing but Southern hospitality expressed to all of us as we arrived at Barber Motorsports Park. The race is on, and Marco Andretti leads Helio Castroneves by about 2 seconds with 20 laps of 90 completed.
And we heard Marco earlier say, you know, this year I just want to get back to having fun. And when you're having fun at what you love to do, doesn't it make it all worth it?
Yeah, he said he was trying to clear his name. I thought that was a very interesting way of putting it. I mean, he realizes that he needs better finishes. He needs better results. And he may be having his comeback of the year.
And two, part of that, it is what he told me earlier. It's getting back to the basics, not looking for that silver bullet. Let's focus on what we know we can do and do it well, not get too creative. He can drive a race car. He's got a great engineer in Tino Belli. Obviously, they're connecting in communication and getting it done.
Now, the top 9 have not made pit stops. We had some before the yellow, and we had some during the yellow for Takuma Sato. Tony Kanaan is running in 10th position, and he is the first driver who has made a pit stop.